All right, welcome everyone. Good evening. It is now we are running late, so it is 8:15 p.m. in Manila and 1:15 p.m. in London. Is that correct, Jen?
It's 12:14.
Okay, right.
Change
Thank
of
you.
time. Yes.
I'm way too advanced for the for the clock moving forward. Tomorrow, right?
Now it changed Halloween.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, thanks everyone for joining us. So as mentioned earlier, our topic tonight is ending our relationship, our toxic relationship with plastics and becoming a soilmate. So um so we came up with this topic mainly because of home waste ending up in landfills. So let me uh, um get you a brief introduction of our topic on why we're doing this, and I'll introduce our very special um, talented guests, Rina and Anna. So about landfills, last year DENR, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources of the Philippines, projected that the Philippines would be generating 23.6 million tons by the year 2025. So in 3 years, more than an increase of 2 million tons, nearly 10%. And as of year 2020, the Philippines generates 19,700 tons of waste per day. So if we go in 1 year, we can build at least one great pyramid of Giza in less than a year. So just out of trash. So imagine that. So I was in another club the other evening, and somebody from Singapore, when they were young, they were taught in school that in the Philippines we have a reputation with our trash problem. Like they would see video clips of Smoky Mountain, and those who are don't even and I don't know how popular it was before. There was also a band called Smoky Mountain. um, so I have three more things to discuss about landfills. Three more points. So during the lockdown, most of the source of trash shifted from commercial sources into the household, with everyone consuming at home. Second, the last one is the top five types of waste in the home in the Philippines come from number one. The top is kitchen. Second is the type of the, is the plastic waste that we generate. Third is organic or garden waste, and fourth type of waste we generate at home is paper and cardboard. And the last one is metals. And finally, according to the Asian Development Bank, over three and a half billion pesos, Philippine pesos, is spent annually to collect and dispose Metro Manila's waste. And to put that into scale, it's equivalent to three brand new SMX convention centers. So that's one of the popular convention centers here in the Philippines. So this is why we got into this topic, and we were referred. Pia referred us to Anna, who's into supporting in who's an advocate of sorting or recycling plastic waste properly, actually making sure it really gets recycled. And then she said, "Why don't we bring Rina, who talks about who's working in the composting space?" So I would like to introduce to everyone Anna Verona, who is the founder of Clean Our Oceans Project. It is the Clean Our Oceans Projects is a social impact enterprise. They have been running drop the plastic collection events in Baseco Compound, in Binyan Laguna, in Zambales, and Alabang. So for those who are already segregating waste, they should already be familiar with the drop the plastic events that used to happen more often before the lockdown. But I think they're back now, and yeah. So Rina, can you say hi to everyone so they can recognize your beautiful voice?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Rina here from Green Space.
And Anna as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm Anna. Hello.
Yeah. So Jen, can you talk more about what Rina is doing?
Oh my goodness, where would I start? It's a pleasure for me to introduce to you Rina, who's a mother of three, who created a business out of her love for environment. I mean, like, who would do that? You know, tailoring their business, to help us with our environment. Anyway, so Rina is the chief SoilMate. Um, how can I say this? Rina is the chief SoilMate of Green Space. And when we say green, let's forget let's not forget the soil, which is brown, because without the brown soil we wouldn't have anything green. And they have an app that they launch and a composting service that makes composting easy for everyone, and of course to give us a chance to be a part as well. So yes, I'm sure Rina's gonna say a lot of things about her project and her journey. So welcome, Rina. We really would like to hear a lot of your story from you.
That's right. I'm going to share it later. Thanks, Jen.
Okay, so yeah, now that we everyone knows Anna and Rina now, let's uh, focus on Anna first. So Anna, how did you end up starting Drop the Plastic events?
Oh, Drop the Plastic events came, well, if you're talking about the events itself, no. We started in 2017 because I was complaining all about all the plastics that I would see all around the coastal cities, coastal islands that I would visit. During the time 2015 to 2000 and well until now, I would be sent over to different islands all over the Philippines, and then the very first thing that I would see is, of course, the beauty of the island, the beauty of the marine ecosystem underwater. But then that's all on one side, apparently, because one time I ventured out on my own, early in the morning, and then when I ended up going to the other side of the and when I ended up on the other side of the island, all I saw was plastic waste. It's not even just garbage. It's easy for food, it's easy for biodegradables, they kind of disappear, but plastics were floating. And I felt that so bad because the island is beautiful from where I first, dropped off in. But pagdating sa kabilang side, there's the ugly side. And the ugly side was always laden with plastic. So I was talking about that on social media until a manufacturer messaged me and wanted to talk to me, a plastics manufacturer. So we challenged each other because he was complaining that they can't do anything with the plastics, whatever, and everything. And to me, that's all like wine, wine, wine. Because like you guys deal with these things, every day. You've been doing it for 50 years. Of course, you can find a way to deal with recyclables. So he said, yes, they can. But but the thing is, when they get the plastics from consumers, it's always dirty. So it's not a reusable material. It's basura because there's food, there's blood, there's oil, there's just all kinds of stuff on it. So they can't use it to make their products, and they don't want to take the effort to clean those plastics. So he challenged me to collect clean, dry, sorted plastics straight from the consumer. And if I get it, he will make sure that it's used to manufacture his products. So that's how it started. So we started with like, it's funny because it's hard to really convince Filipinos that, after you're done using a bottle of, let's say, cooking oil, it's hard to convince them to wash it They just want to throw it in the garbage bin. And then they say, let the government take care of it. But obviously, the government is not taking care of it because there's so many landfills. Like what you said, by the time of 2025 or 2025, we would be building like garbage landfills as big as how many SMX centers? And an SMX center is like more than 46,000 square meters. That's crazy.
That
So,
that's the cost of how much we spend nationally on.
exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you spend
So
billions.
it
You spend
yeah
billions on that.
yeah in a year we could build a pyramid of one pyramid of Giza made out of trash.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, we're running out of land, right? We're such a small country. We're running out of land to dump garbage in. So we have to do something. So I'm so glad that Rina's on board with composting because most of the garbage is actually like, from what I heard, the latest is 82%. Most of the garbage that comes from homes is 82% food waste. The others is plastic. Of course, with food waste, because it can biodegrade, it's nabubulok. But with plastics, yeah, sure, it's a little bit less, but it doesn't biodegrade the same way as food. It can stay forever in our planet. By 2025, we're supposed to be littered with 12 billion plastic items all over the planet. And we don't want that because we need space. We need our planet to be healthy. Our planet will be suffocated with plastics. So that's how we started. And then, of course, that's how we started Cleaner Oceans Project, education awareness. So I had to teach communities how to sort the plastics because during that time they weren't accepting all plastics. They were only accepting, like litro bottles or milk jugs or flexible plastics like microwavables. Other than that, supposedly you cannot recycle it. That's what people thought. But with the technology nowadays, you can accept one, two, four, five, six, and seven. We have seven types of plastics. We can accept six of them already. But during that time, it wasn't a popular notion. So we started teaching communities how to sort the plastics types one, type two, type four, five, six, and seven. So I started with Ayala Alabang and Baseco. They're two polar opposites when it comes to the economic stratosphere, if you know what I mean. So, and it is interesting to note that we get two different reactions. So, from Ayala Labang, which is an upper class community, the first thing that most of them said was, "What? That's such a hassle." That one woman actually said, "What? I have to hire another maid for that." Okay, like I don't hear the word maid nowadays, but she actually said that she would have to hire somebody extra for her staff to clean, dry, and sort the plastics. While in Baseco, they were saying like, why should we do this? It's useless because even if we sort the plastics or we sort our garbage, all the garbage gets dumped in one truck anyway. So what's the point? So you see how different the reactions were. But in the end, we were able to convince them because we taught them all about marine conservation, how important the marine environment is to us, to our survival. We're not doing this actually when they say save the planet. We need to save the planet in order to save us. Because if we don't, then we're going to run out of resources for our food, for our air, for our water. So they were convinced, and so they started doing it. Medyo, of course, it was like a little bit slow, but by the time 2019 came in, corporations started to take notice. And they're big ones like Nestle, YS, Estee Lauder, and Ayala Infra. So they supported and they started doing it in their own offices. And from 2017 and 18, where we were collecting 30 kilograms of clean, dry, sorted, and plastics. By the time of 2019, we're able to collect 14 tons. So that changed immediately because we got the support of the FMCGs. These are the big brands that make all these products that go out into the market packaged in plastics. And without their support, probably we wouldn't have this kind of leverage. So I'm thankful also for them. And we, of course, Clean Our Oceans Project is not all about just collecting the plastics, but talking to the FMCGs in order for them to reduce the plastics that they bring out into the market. Like, for instance, a chocolate milk drink. We talked about it, and they took out the straw that's attached to the carton. You know, diba, when you buy the milk, the milk, the milk drinks that are come in the boxes, it usually
Yes.
has a straw. Yeah. So ngayon tinanggal na nila yon. Took it out. They said just pop the corner and cut the corner and then you can drink straight from the box. That's one. And secondly, for their sachets, they lessen the layers of the plastics in order to make their sachet packaging. So, little things like that. So they take responsibility also. So that's what happened with Drop the Plastic naman. Nangyari niyan because we started COVID-19 was scary for us. I don't know how it was so uncertain because there came a point we were already collecting more than 300 kilograms a month. So we were supposed to collect like 36 tons already a year. But because of COVID-19, everybody was sent to work from home, 'di ba? So after September, when restrictions were eased up on, we decided, sige, since we cannot collect from the workplace, we will collect from the homes again. So we partnered up with several villages here in the south and one in Quezon City, and we started collecting from the houses themselves, from the residents. They would come every month. They will they will come with their clean, dry, and sorted plastics. And so now we expanded from plastics to other recyclables. We're able to collect more than a ton a month. So that's how Drop the Plastic came to be. Diba?
Wow, that's very impressive, Anna. How it came you know from one community to the other, and also how you've reached out to polar opposites of um the economic groups, and
Yeah.
also most importantly is getting these big brands to make the changes, because that's where when you cut off the source of the plastic, that makes a huge difference.
Correct. Kasi it all starts with land activity. So when they say, let's clean up the ocean, you don't start in the ocean. You have to start where it comes from. So where does it come from? It comes from the land. So where does this plastics in land come from? It comes from the houses and from the offices and from where humans come from. So we started there on land. It was very unpopular because everybody was like enjoying the cleanup dives, the coastal cleanups and everything. But after like a season, after a typhoon comes in, all plastics are back on the ocean and back in the coastal communities. So we said, where does this all come from? It comes from the houses. It comes from the people on land. So we start from there. Yun, that's what happened. And it's so cute when we would talk to, especially the people who love to go to the market. You tell them, so we eat fish. Who gets the fish? The fishermen, they answer. So the fishermen bring it where? So they answer, sa palengke or in the market. So okay, then I go, okay, so who buys the fish? Then they go, us, we buy the fish. And so who eats the fish? We do. Where did the fish come from? In the ocean. What's in the ocean? Plastic. Who eats the plastics in the ocean? Then they start looking around the fish. you know? And then they realize, suddenly they put things together. Who eats the fish? Then they go, we do. So there's actually there's a study behind that. In every mollusk that you eat, on an average, there are 100 microplastic particles in each mollusk. What are mollusks? Oysters, clams. Those are the masasarap kainin, 'di ba? And every time we eat that, there's about an average 100 microplastic particles in it already. So it's already entered our food chain. Of course, that's not healthy. It makes us sick, 'di ba? So they become motivated to join Drop the Plastics. They become motivated to clean, dry, and sort their plastics and keep it away from polluting the ocean. That's how I motivated them. Because they're the ones who handle the marketing. They're the ones who handle the fish. So they know.
Yeah, I agree, Rina. Sorry, Anna. Um, so you mentioned you also talked to the recyclers. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How would you describe your partnership with the upcyclers? Were you um uh yeah, and also the other thing the follow question I wanted to ask with um the communities that you've been working with, uh what did you say to yourself when you finally saw the events taking off?
Oh, well, first of all, my recycler with my relationship with the recyclers or upcyclers at first was not very good because syempre, I'm coming from the point of, save Mother Earth or save humanity. You're coming from the point of save my business, save the one that feeds my family, save the one that feeds my employees' family. So it's very understandable. And as of now, well, we come to a point where we agree that we can only do so much, but at the same time, we should continue pushing. Kasi, like with most upcyclers, they are only able to use 20% because in every product, there's a recipe, correct? So in every product, there's 80% virgin plastics, and then they use 20% of the collected plastics that we give them. So I keep pushing, let's make it more, let's make it more, let's make it more. And then they get infuriated with me because like they feel siguro I'm demanding. But because I have so much faith naman in research and development and science, I'm sure they'll find a way. So with Dow Technologies, who's a packaging company, they were able to find a way to use 40% of collected plastics into their formulations. So that's a big improvement. Then also of course like with ang maganda naman ito like plastic bank, that's another one. They get specific plastics only, 1, 2, and 5. They get to use 100% of collected sorted plastics into the packaging of their partners. They collect the PET, they collect the HDPE, they collect the polypropylene. Those are types 1, 2, and 5. They send it to certain brands, and these brands use it to make their packaging again. 100%. They don't use virgin material anymore. So that's what we're aiming for. That's what I would like to see more of. That when they create a product, they can use 100% collected plastics instead of buying virgin material. That's what my dream is. Yeah. And then what's your other question? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. I know it's gonna be a loaded question. I should have separated it. My bad.
Wala kang time ba? Sige, si Rina pa.
No, no. So yeah, one last for you, and then we can actually there is another one
Okay.
that just to shake up the to jog the activity in the room because we started late. So first is how long? No. What did you say to yourself when you finally saw drop the
Ah,
plastic events take off?
oh, okay. Nung ano, at first, of course, it was like, come on, guys, we can do better. Kasi 30 kilograms a month, come on. Diba? Let's take just 2 FJ Jeeps. And I'm like thinking, we can do better. We can really do better. But now, after COVID-19, no, no, during COVID-19, during pandemic, we were collecting on our first, when we reopened up the plastics, we were able to collect 230 kilograms in one event. So it's like thinking, oh my gosh, my faith in humanity has been restored. You know, because there are people who actually care. They cared more for the environment during pandemic. If there's just that one thing, that one ray of sunlight, that silver lining in the cloudy day, it was that for pandemic. For pandemic, that was where the only bright thing that was for me. It seemed like people were more concerned about the environment than before.
Yes. I wish to. Anna, you're so inspiring. I want to do the same thing, and we'll discuss later or offline
Sure.
how I want to go about it.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
hard, It's not hard at all. It really isn't. It's easy to set it up in every community. You just need a basketball court.
right. Yeah, I saw that on your website. We can get back to that later. I want to
Sure,
ask
sure.
you another thing.
Okay.
Um, I'm sure this will get you fired up. Can you share your involvement in the Cove Manila balloon drop? I think it was in what,
Oh
2018,
my
2019.
gosh. Yeah, that was crazy because like it was almost New Year's Eve. I think it was December 28th. And I was just chilling with my kids, and my Facebook started pinging, constantly. Apparently, there was this link where people were tagging me in so many comments because the Cove Manila was going to drop 130 balloons, 130,000 balloons at the Cove. So they're calling it the epic balloon drop that could put them in the Guinness Book of World Records. And of course, people were getting upset because where will the balloons go? Where will all this waste go? And they had this impression that it was going to be dropped in Manila Bay. Yeah, but it's only within the club. But still, right? 130,000 balloons is a lot of waste. And funny thing was, I think a lot of the organizations, NGOs, were already messaging them and vilifying them online, and they were picketing outside the lobby, from what I heard. And I was thinking, like, how am I going to get in touch with these people? So what I did was I got in touch with the DJ for the Cove for that event. I didn't know who he was. I just checked it out. Who are the people involved in this event? So I messaged the DJ and I told the DJ, I'm not here to crucify you guys. I'm here to actually help you. And so that made them more open to speak to me. And they invited me over on that very day to come meet them. So I went over at Okada. They sent me in the club and I saw the balloons. They're really a lot and they look really exciting, admittedly. But that's just really a lot. And the World's Guinness Book of World Records representative was there as well. So they asked me, what should we do? And I said, if you're going to decide to continue with this, you're going to have to take a lot of measures to make sure all the balloons stay within the club. Secondly, you have to deal with the bad publicity. And then, of course, I'll help you find a way for it not to get to the landfills. And in the end, after meeting with them, with the management, with DNR, they decided to just cancel the event because it was just too much of a headache to deal with. And yeah, so I gave them instructions on how to deal with the balloons. So to make sure that they will not use it, I asked them to cut them up in quarters, into four pieces for each balloon. And they stored it in one of their storage rooms. And all these balloons were sent to an upcycler whom I had to convince to use it. Because they were using sachets in their products, but they're not used to using latex. Latex is a totally different thing. So they accepted naman. So when they accepted, Okada sent their 130,000 balloons over to our upcycling partner, Green Ants, and they use it to make pavers. They use it to make bricks. That is the lesser evil, of course, of it ending up in the landfills and in the ocean. So that's how we got involved with Okada. While people were picketing outside, I was inside with them talking because I wanted to just really help them. And so I think up until now, they're still selling those bricks and pavers made with Okada balloons. That's how I got involved. That's it. I was just a connector.
But that's still you were still very instrumental, I think, in finding a solution. Because if they stopped the event, like here in Makati House, for example, we prepared for this event despite the hiccups. We prepared for this event for 2 weeks when we started talking, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you would start to get materials and everything. So they already had those balloons by that time. So it was gonna end up in landfills if you didn't do something about it, right? So yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, no matter how small, I think it made a huge difference. So yeah, thanks Anna for doing all those and inspiring everyone. Especially me, I'm so inspired. So I'm gonna turn it to Jen. So Jen will introduce Rina or get Rina to it's uh to give Rina's turn to get fired up.
It's
Yes.
Rina's turn.
Rena's a superwoman. It's good to listen to her.
Yeah. So while Anna, you're preventing the plastic waste before reaching the soil and the ocean, here comes our dear Rina, who's also doing her part, holding the fort with her company, turning food waste. When I say food waste, there's a lot of different food waste, and Rina's going to talk about it later. Sometimes there are food waste that we thought, they cannot be composted, but Rina has a solution for that. To turn this waste into, a soilmate. And Rina, can you please do tell us about, your journey and your story, and why do you invite people to become a land healers?
Yep. Thanks, Jen. And again, hello to everybody. Just to give context, no land healer. So we always say that we're looking for soil mates. Mahirap daw maghanap ng soulmate. Soilmate na muna ang hanapin natin. With soilmates, we want to find people who are ready to make a change with the way they um, handle their food waste, and that's our battle cry. No, we need to make this important and urgent change from landfillers to land healers. So why? Because we so badly need to do something to help our planet heal. And because we can. Kasi by simply changing the way we treat our food waste, it will really make a big difference, make an impact. And it's something we can do every day. Pero syempre, hindi naman natin yan naiisip. When you let your food waste end in landfills, it can cause so much damage. But the moment you change it, like the moment you start composting it, it will make healthier soil, and healthy soil means healing in a lot of aspects. Because when we talk about healthy soil, that's actually the basis of having healthy crops or more nutritious fruits, vegetables. The health all comes from soil. Eh. Imagine we're bringing all this food waste, letting it rot in landfills, when in fact, if it's processed in a way that we return everything to to the earth, to the soil, and then we make the soil much healthier. So it's like just just the other day we visited a farm in Laguna. They're trying to develop their farm into an organic farm, and they need a lot of compost. And we were talking, all these food waste are being sent by the trucks to the landfills, when farms like this need them to make their soil much healthier. So it's really just a way of changing the way we treat food waste, and it's really something we can all do at home, in the office, in our business. Because I come to think of it, we all love to eat, right? And whenever there's food waste coming from the preparation, and then the leftovers. We all put it in bag and happily hand it over to our garbage collectors, and they deliver it to the landfill. So we just have to change that. And imagine you're already throwing it away anyway. But this time, we want to give you an option. Instead of putting it in bags, put it in its own container so you can prepare it for composting. So by doing that, that's your share in helping heal the planet, heal the environment, and eventually that will all come back to us. Healthier environment, healthier air for us to breathe. So our bodies will be much healthier as well. Stronger immune system na kailangan natin in this pandemic. So imagine just thinking about changing the way you treat your food waste, pero you see how all these things are interconnected, ano. So bottom line, we really need to do something to heal our one and only planet. And we're always struggling. Ano bang pwede kong gawin? Do that at home. Do
I
that in
really
your office.
I really like that when you said, "What can we do?" Because you see, sometimes we think we want to help. What can we do? But we don't know where to start. You
Mm-hmm.
know. And I
Right.
would just like to highlight when you said a while ago, you know, instead of being a landfillers, why don't we become a land healers?
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Rina,
That's
can you? I really am sorry. I'm not in a rush, but I know that there is something that we have to talk about. We have this on the meeting, and I really want you to share it with our audience.
mm-hmm.
You know, before you started your venture, I'd like to hear, we, and of course, I'm sure our audience also would enjoy listening to your story and
Mm-hmm.
your journey. As an entrepreneur, you know when we're trying to do these things for for our environment, of course we also need it to be financed. you know we do volunteer and stuff like that, but definitely in able to sustain it, we also need to make a structure wherein we can continue the project.
Yep.
So
Yep.
please do tell us, what are the before you came up to your business at the moment, you
Mm-hmm.
know that goes with your advocacy. Please do tell us your
Mm-hmm.
journeys.
Yep. Yeah. I actually have an engineering background, but um, by the time I graduated, I already have two kids, and I thought I really didn't want to be employed. I also thought that I was allergic to an 8 to 5 job and figured I should go into business. Although fast forward to now, I have green space, and it seems like I'm working 24/7. So I was avoiding the 8 to 5, and I ended up working almost round the clock with multiple roles at that. And the struggle, grabe talaga. But um, I once thought of going into the junk shop business. Imagine that. It was around 2009 when I met a lady who taught me what an MRF is. So are you all aware what an MRF is? That's your material recovery facility na under our Republic Act 9003, the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2001. Every barangay must have an MRF. So dapat sana every barangay can manage their waste. But anyway, well, with this lady, it's like we were talking about basura, may pera sa basura, that it's real, and then ultimately it's something that we need to do, that people need to compost. But it was only in 2013 when I actually learned about live beneficial microorganisms or bacteria being used to compost food waste. And I got very much interested. So I learned about this technology called EM1. I was in an agricultural workshop because I also thinking maybe I should go farming. I attended an agri workshop and then I heard about this EM. I heard about the bokashi technology, and then we tried to learn more about it, fast track everything we can learn about this EM technology. They have a training center in Thailand. We went there, tried to get as much information. So basically, the idea is bioremediation, meaning the use of microorganisms to address environmental problems like contaminated soil 2013. So imagine 2013 Rina talking about cleaning our steros, our rivers, composting food waste through bioremediation. So that time, bio what? What are you talking about? And using bacteria. And when you say that in Tagalog, microbio, why would I want to even touch or see or smell? And you can't even see it no matter how much I talk about it. I can never show you these microbes unless siguro I bring a microscope around with me, diba? Pero sounds a bit crazy na, okay, bioremediation, but I really thought that it's something that would like people would come around and understand what it can do. So in 2013, we started um, talking to people, to clients about composting their food waste using this technology, and it's called bokashi technology. So with bokashi composting, and in as early as 2013, people would always say, "Na that's nice, that's good, we really need to do that." But in terms of business, no one's engaging, not closing any sale. So, but everybody thinks that it's a good idea. Uh, until 2018. So it was in 2018 when the people we were speaking with earlier on reached out to us and asked, "Are you still doing the composting thing?" And then there, sometime around 2018 to 2019, started
Rina,
talking to yes.
sorry to cut you off. I just don't want the thoughts to be lost. So during that time, right, that people are not very receptive to it, you know. How did you feel? Did you feel discouraged? And
Of course.
what
Mhm,
makes you, persevere?
mhm. I I I I just knew that just need to keep on going. I just need to deliver the message, and eventually people would understand that yeah, they need it. I know that we need it. Um, it's just that like right now when we teach about it, we really I really teach people about composting, making it an integral part of our daily life. So it's not supposed to be an option. Should I throw it to the landfill or should I compost it? We should compost it. We should not think twice about it. But back then, it was difficult. But I knew that I think I held on to that vision. I knew that people would eventually understand and see the need for doing it. And uh, it's sad that it had to take a pandemic for people to actually look our way when everybody was home, and now they started noticing the kind of waste they produce in their small households. Pero ang dami-daming basura, and that now they had the time to actually think of what what's the proper way of handling all this waste. Uh, we were like parang forced to also pivot our model because our model was designed for businesses. So we were only talking to offices, restaurants, hotels, convention centers about their food waste. Pero with the pandemic, 'di ba? Wala nang tao sa office. Wala nang tao sa mall. Everybody's at home, and now they're seeing their way. So sabi namin, okay, maybe it's time to reach out to these people at home and tell them you can do something at home with your food waste. You can do this composting method. And with that, we started offering our services to households, and we developed it in such a way. It's like a pay for service model. So it's the service that you're paying for. You can always compost on your own, get your materials. You have a garden, you have a space, do your own composting. But with what we're doing, we don't want people to have excuses na, I don't want to do it, I can't do it, I don't have space, I don't have time. Just put it in the bucket and we'll compost it for you. We'll even get the bucket from your household. Just subscribe to our composting services. So that's
Rina,
where we are right now.
Rina,
Yes.
thank you so much. Would you kindly tell us more about effective microorganism, where it comes from, and the study around it? Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I just
Yep.
really want that to be highlighted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that technology, so it's called EM, effective microorganism. So it's a Japanese technology, and it's like a concoction of multiple beneficial microorganisms, all naturally occurring. They're not laboratory made, so it's non-GMO. Imagine it's equivalent to this cultured milk in a tiny bottle that you drink para okay ang chan. So, di ba, we drink this cultured milk so we can deliver all the beneficial microbes into our guts. So we'll have healthier digestive system. So that's basically the idea. So it has a microbial inoculant. It's liquid in form and it has billions of beneficial microbes in it. You know what? Uh, we are from within our bodies, on our skin, and all the air surrounding us. It's all microorganisms. The question is, good ba or bad ba? And we know with the pandemic, what we got is a nasty type of virus called COVID, diba? So that magnitude of impact of microbes can be that bad, and it can also be that good. Um, in a bottle of an EM microbial inoculant, it would have common microbes like yeast, lactobacilli, photosynthetic bacteria. So all these microbes mixed together, and they're all very much beneficial for humans, for animals, for plants. That's what it is. And now from this EM, we can make our bokashi or bokashi brand. Bokashi is actually a Japanese term which means fermented organic matter. So the whole process is fermentation. So we make our own bokashi brand using that microbial inoculant, and this bokashi brand is now what we distribute to our subscribers, and that is what they use in processing their food waste at home. There you go. That's your EM.
Wow, thank you so much, Rina. Back to you, JP.
Yes, thank you, Jen, thank you, Rina. I'm, we've also been composting at home, but not the bokashi method. So,
Mhm.
but after talking to Rina, I'll probably try to. I'll check it out. But the other thing I wanted to try the same thing with the same project I want to do with Anna. I was also want to do the same thing because in our neighborhood, I don't think a lot of people are composting. So I want to do it en masse, and that way we can maximize the transport. We
Oh,
can
mhm.
bring empty buckets on the way, and then on the way back, it's filled with trash, empty bins and buckets, and it's filled with trash headed either to the compost sites and the recycling centers.
One
So
thing that JP, sorry for interrupting, because Rina and I
mhm.
have been working together for a long time already. She forgot to mention that unlike other composting methods, Bokashi can accept cooked food, It can accept bones, eggshells, cheese. Kasi dun sa ibang composting methods, they only accept vegetable scraps. But with her
Yeah,
method, with Bokashi, it can manage meat as well.
it's meat, dairy. Yeah, so cook, uncooked, so everything, all types of food waste. So you don't have to sort through your food waste and you don't need to leave anything behind. You just make sure to properly layer everything inside the bucket. That's we will ask you to commit to that. You learn the art of layering your food waste and bokashi brand inside the bucket so that we can use all the food waste. So we don't want the food waste to rot. And when it rots, you'll have problem with bad odor, with pests. And that's what the bokashi is doing. Because of the process of fermentation, you don't worry about those things. You don't worry about bad odor. So if you have a small household, like we do have subscribers who would take a month before they can fill up one bucket, and then that's okay. It's not like by the second, third month you're enduring the bad smell of the bucket. There's no bad smell.
Yes, that's the other thing that really attracted me
Mhm.
to it when we started chatting. Because for hours it's just peels and yeah, peels. I also tried my hair. I because I got my own hair. The collected hair, I tried to put it there. Just wanted to see how it will, how fast it will decompose.
But hair is good for the soil anyway. It's got good
Yeah,
nitrogen. Yeah, so it will
yeah.
make the soil healthy. So it's beneficial to what you're doing with your compost.
Mhm.
Would it
Right.
also okay when you like have this, like the hunt animals fur or stuff like that, like JP's
Mhm.
hair?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Because they're um biological, I don't know how to call it, biomaterial.
It's
But
natural.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, it's natural. So let's take a break, a quick break, and so Anna and Rina can take a quick break, and so I wanted to add also before we take a break is at the top of the room you'll see, we're updating the links there. So Bea, our event assistant, and um, actually the manager, the head honcho of the events, of the promotion. She's updating the links there as well. And to those who are tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter Live, you may send your questions as a comment, or head on over to radio.cc/mh. That's radio.cc/mh. And you can find the link to the Clubhouse app to install the app, set up your account, um, and if you open the same link again, it will send you to this room. Okay, so we prepared a short message as part of our break, so stay tuned and we'll be back shortly.
Welcome to Makati House, a professional network for Filipinos helping Filipinos. Our topic tonight is how to sort our trash with Anna Varona with Clean Our Oceans project and drop the plastic events. Rina Papio will talk about getting started on composting our kitchen waste with Green Space and their SoilMate app. This event is being recorded and streamed live to other platforms. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and listen to our past discussions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
And we're back.
Yes, welcome back. I, I every time I edit that, I edit our break messages. For some reason, I don't get tired of that song. Anyway, so um, we'll return to Rina about composting. And I wanted also to announce that we will be giving away some coupons for Rina's app, which we'll talk about later. So if we get enough people who are tuned in, maybe we can, or you can send us a, you can tag, you can reshare our video and tag Makati House, and also follow Makati House on Facebook so we can reach out to you, and you can get the coupon code for the app. And if you're still not composting, or you're not yet using the bokashi method and you want to try it out, here's your chance. We're giving away a couple of coupon um, uh, coupons for the app. We'll get back to Rina on composting. Let's get back to let's return to Anna on getting rid of or ending our very toxic relationship with plastics. I don't know, you guys have had toxic relationships, but I don't want to talk about mine. But
No,
maybe Anna wants to talk about hers.
no, 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 no. No, because the funny thing about toxic relationship is that sometimes you don't even realize that you're in it. Diba? So with Cleaner Oceans Project, we have this method called the plastic audit. The plastic audit is where it's part of the educational program that we have in Cleaner Oceans Project. We require all participants to take a plastic audit in their house. So in each room, okay, guys, just I hope you do this, okay? But go to each room in your house, and then you start counting how many plastic items you have in each room. You list it down. You'll be surprised. That's why when people are saying break free from plastics or go zero plastics, I'm like, that's impossible, because these people have not realized that their cell phones or their laptops or their televisions are made out of plastic. So you go around your house and take an audit of how many plastic items you have in each room. And then from there, you'll see what kind of lifestyle you have. Then from there, you can actually see what you can reduce, what you don't really need, what you can refuse. And then from there, you can actually lead a less plastic lifestyle. Yun. So that's how plastic audits work for our trainings. And how funny, because like recently I had a training with De La Salle University, a class of they're about 40. And one girl said that in their hallway they had 154 plastic items in their hallway. So she said, I didn't realize we were using so much plastics. And like, I asked, what kind of plastics were those? And she goes, ramen. What's it doing in your hallway, diba? So they had, and my friend, she told me, Anna, I have so many plastic bottles here. I set it aside for, for drop the plastics. And I said, I'll just go over there, I'll take it. And when we got there, she's handed to me, we had a lunch, and her husband was there, so we went she was we were in the dining area, and she brought in two garbage bags of plastics, and it was a clear plastic bag that she used, so you can see the contents. So the contents were just soda bottles, zero, what's that, sugar free soda bottles. And the husband goes, oh, so you're sending that to Anna? And then he goes, yeah. And then he looks at it. It's two garbage bags. Ah. That's how much it is. And he goes, oh, that's over 2 months. And she goes, no, that's only 2 weeks. So he didn't realize they were drinking that much soda. So it gives you a look in how your lifestyle is. And since then, they have cut down on their soda intake. He can't. He just likes it. So, but because after seeing that, he had cut down so much on his soda intake, and that's what happens. You take personal responsibility with what you buy, what you eat, what you consume, and then you lead a healthier lifestyle. So also he also stopped buying the packaged foods, specifically bread. So his wife had to learn how to make bread. Extreme na yun, ha. And another family that I know, they started making their own soap. They started making their own shampoo. But that's also extreme. Like for me, I can't do that because I get allergic reactions. But at least I tried. Diba? Like and in my case, what we cut down on was the snacks because my kids love, like packaged biscuits. They love that. They love like the Oreos and the Chips Ahoy. They love that, and so we cut back on that, and we started putting more healthier food here in the house. So it becomes a less toxic lifestyle. Therefore, cutting out the toxics in your lifestyle. You don't realize that you're having a toxic relationship until you step back and take a look at how you're leading your life. So that's how you could cut down on your toxic relationships with waste. Right, JP? So that's what you're gonna do with your community, I hope.
Yeah, I hope to make that adjustment. And while people are still trying to transition away from 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 snacks, from chips, we have Mako here up on stage. He uses discarded tin foil wrapping. So
Yeah,
we have
I've seen his
all
work.
the
Well,
other
It's
kinds.
it's not for
awesome.
guilt free
I
eating
love
snacks
it.
in
I
a
love
tin
it. I was
foil.
like, where can I get that? But do I really need it? Right? But then I want it.
No, the
No,
best thing is no, the best thing
Mako
is
said
no.
Mako said
Ask Mako.
if the shoe gets damaged or it breaks apart, he's willing to replace it with another type of footwear. It can be your
Wow.
only type, your only footwear.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Wait,
Yes,
Hook me
but
up.
wait.
Mako, Mako,
Can
they
I
have to
say
save
something?
those plastic, right?
I'm all ears for Marco now.
Hi Anna. Okay,
Oh,
JP.
wow.
We will only replace the outsole, okay? Not the entire shoes, okay?
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry.
Nagkabyot bigla.
I really have to say that.
Yeah, you have to say that. It's gonna cost you. But yeah, I saw your work. It's fantastic. It's fabulous work.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
But I think we are still, trying to tweak because like in the sustainability world that we are actually living in right now, it's an endless battle. It's like you try this, you try that, diba? So parang I think
Yeah.
as we go along, we grow. And then
Wait,
like
it's
right now pa
mostly
we share
experimental, di
information.
ba?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct, correct.
Yeah. So it's really a struggle because, like me, I'm demanding it from my manufacturers and the upcyclers. Put more collected plastics in your products, and then they get so annoyed with me. But then somebody has to do that, and it's our job to do it.
I
We have
agree.
to
I
push.
agree.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to ask so many questions. There are so many questions in my head right now. I just really don't know how to. It's either I fix the collection system, or should we just like come up with products based on what we get. So parang there's too much problem going on. But I think hearing you guys out. Okay. So I'm not alone. So I'm not alone in this war for the earth.
Yeah, from
Yes, yes.
diverting pollution, diba? Yeah,
Yeah.
kasi like before the people would actually say, I was screamed, somebody yelled at me during a plastic summit saying that no, you cannot recycle plastics. You can only recycle type 1 and type 2. I said, that's not true anymore. You can recycle 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then she goes, sachets? How can you recycle sachets? But it's already doable. It's already, because it's not recycling. I'm sorry, it's not recycling, it's upcycling. So turning into a material of lesser value into an item of greater value. So it's upcycling. So with your case, Mako, for example, you were getting some multi-layer plastic items, correct? Like sachets. You weave them and you turn them into shoes. So from sachet, which is like what, 7 pesos per sachet, you can sell your shoes for how much? So that's what you call upcycling. And you're doing such a great job. It looks great because if there's anything that could promote upcycling is actually artisanal products just like yours. From there, the the mass produced items will be inspired with. Ganun naman yun, di ba? Like in the world of fashion. In the world of fashion, the couture, the haute couture people are the ones who inspire the mass produced clothing. Di ba? Mako ganun yun. So I'm so glad that you're
Agree.
doing that.
Agree. Yeah, actually, last time we also discussed if so when the product is too inspiring, so syempre hindi mo maiiwasan na there are copycats. And like for me naman, I am open for people copying the entire procedure but not the design. You have to
Of
be
course.
I think original, of course, 'di ba? That's why I think for some people na who will probably get inspired with lalapatos, I think the most important is you copy the system on how we put up the shoes together, because it's not just a pair of shoes. They're in their impacts from communities and for that we support also. So yun yung
Yeah.
dapat copy nila. It's not really the shoes itself.
Correct, correct. Because there has to be, like, I remember somebody was asking a while ago, it was Jen who was asking Rina, why are you doing this? I remember what Simon Sinek was saying, you have to find your why. So why are we doing this? We're doing this for the communities. We're doing this for the planet. We're doing this so that our future generations will have air to breathe, food to eat, and water to drink. So we have to
Yes.
continue pushing on that and being inspired by that so that we continue what we're doing. Yes, it gets really discouraging, super discouraging right now because right now we are, I could probably say we're the frontliners for this. We're the first ones going forward with upcycling, with getting waste and turning it into gold. Like for example, EM1, the one that Rina was talking about a while ago, EM1 is considered liquid gold. They call it liquid gold because they it this material, like composting, there is a problem with the earth right now with acidification of the soil. What is acidification of the soil? This is where the soil has no more nutrients to give.
Right.
So
So,
what we
wait,
plant there,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, Anna. I wanna go back to what you discussed about the waste audit.
Yes.
Yeah, because I wanna share, for example, we we closed our physical office with my partner 2 3 years ago, and so some
Yeah.
of the furniture is still here. The office furniture, the materials from the uh almost every well, not almost everything from that office is in our house now.
Wow.
so so you said for like a waste audit. Now for me, when I do an audit for each room, I kind of don't want to do it because I know what answer I'm gonna get, so I get
I feel
anxious and
you.
I get anxiety. So I want to ask you something. Do you have your own spark joy method so we can get just started with this waste audit? Because like
Oh,
at the start of I think last month we discussed mental health and how do we get. I think me I get um waste anxiety.
yeah, because the more stuff in your house there is, the more things clutter your brain. The more stuff you have in your house, the more weight there is on your shoulders because these things don't just sit there. Yes, of course, literally speaking, they're sitting down there, but they accumulate dust and then they take up space and they take up energy. So you need to let go of that. So my spark of joy is not actually about joy. sorry, because Marie Kondo is so positive and she's so pleasant and everything. I'm a jaded person, so my my thing is what inspires me to let go of clutter and waste is what value do you give in my life? Are you of any use to me or not? So after like 2 years, and I look at like a pair of shoes. Of course, when it's Mako shoes, it's gonna stay there forever. But I look at a pair of shoes and I think, how long have I used you? Have I used you within the past 2 years? So if I haven't used you in the past 2 years, you're nothing there. You're not useful. So what I do is that I take it and I put it up for donation, or we have a group here that's buy nothing and I say, does anybody want this? And then somebody takes it. So there is more use for the object somewhere else than with me. So I have no purpose of keeping it except for probably for ego, but I, you know, I want the space. I want not to think about it. I don't want to have it there and not have any contribution to my life. So that's what I'm thinking right now. It's just basically like, at a certain time of your life, you start thinking, do I want to take this shit or not? Yon, I'm sorry. Am I allowed to do that? Say that. But yeah, so it's more of like, do you add value in my life? Do I have any use for you? Maybe somebody has use for you, but not me. So that's where I'm coming from with the way I do. I go around my house and declutter. So I help people do that. And it's very difficult for many because they think that their value is tied up to objects, which is not the case. Because objects are just objects. If you lose it, if you break it, does it mean that your value is of less meaning in your life? Of course not. The value comes from within. So that's my approach. It's not whether you spark joy. My approach is, do you have any value in my life? Or would somebody else be better off with you? So does it sound so bad, JP?
No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jen.
it's straight to the point. I mean, like, yeah, when JP was asking this question a while ago, I was just like, well, where would I start? And I look around me just by listening now. I look around my room and I was just like, where would I start? And then you're talking about joy, and I was just like, those things are so, I'm so attached with those stuff. I might use it tomorrow. But then I've been accumulating it, and then I don't know where to put them or to use it for the future, and that would end me up being a hoarder. And then there would be plenty of ways that, at the end of the day, I would be so scared to face, because really, I don't know where they go. Anyway, to cut the story short, I'm so happy, for you sharing this. It's really straight to the point. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kind of blunt because I don't want to waste time. Ooh, I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste time.
I love discussion. Oh my god.
So yeah, so there. So just look at one, not look at one, but look at things and say, do you add value in my life? That's it. Or would somebody else be happier using you?
It looks like it's not just for waste, but also people.
Exactly. That's right. It's exactly the same thing. Why do you want to waste time on people who do not add value in your life, right?
That's true. That's true. Okay, so next thing is uh I want us to get into the talk about business. Um, so can you give us a walkthrough on? You mentioned the types of plastic. Can you give more details on it? Like, I know there are labels, and I also I think Pia told me that's what you're also advocating for, like better labeling on plastic
Yeah,
materials. Can you
because
can you talk about those types of plastics?
sure, because when we started in 2017, so we asked people in our trainees to gather plastics in their house. And then when they come over for the training session, they have it there in front of them, and I tell them, okay, you divide it into the types of plastics that they are. And usually, if it's there should be a recycling code, a resin code on the product itself, the packaging, meaning there's a triangle with a number in it. Usually it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But when they start looking through the plastics, about 85% of them don't have the resin code. A resin code is an indication of what kind of plastics the product is made out of. So, like number one, type one is the most popular plastics. People know all about it. It's PET. So it's polyethylene. What is polyethylene? It's like they're the social kind of plastics. They look clean. They look very clear. They look very, they look very classy. So many of the high end products actually use type one for like skincare, for the bathrooms, the shampoos. Shu Uemura, they use that. Many of the Korean brands use that for their skincare products. So they're clear, they're crispy, they're also not very durable. Okay. So type 2 naman is a food usually used for food. So type 2 plastics are brittle, they're opaque. Like opaque meaning you cannot see through them. So unlike the PET, you can see through them. So with type 2 plastics, HDPE, high density polyethylene, and they're usually used for bathroom products, for lotion, for shampoo. That's what HDP is. Type 3 is the one that you should avoid. It's like the narcissistic boyfriend. Get away from him. PVC is toxic. You cannot really recycle that because most recycling methods require heat. And when you expose PVC to heat, it releases all this really really toxic air. It's carcinogens. So we avoid that. Funny thing is, ironically, PVC credit cards are made out of PVC. So there you find it. I just find it ironic that credit cards are made out of PVC, the most toxic plastic ever. So it is like figurative, right? Stop using your credit card, people. So number four, right now is the highly used plastics during pandemic. Number four is cellophane, bubble wrap. Everything that's packaged, that's used for packaging your Zalora, your Lazada, or your Shopee items. That's type four. They're 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 not durable. They're they're easy to bend. They're like easy to fold. They're they're also biodegradable. They break down easily. That's type 4. But because of the funny thing is, during the time we were collecting pre-pandemic, the highest number of plastics that we would collect is PET and sachet. But then when pandemic came and I predicted it, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of type 4 because people are going to start shopping online more and more. And true enough, that's what happened. So that's type 4. We can accept that. We can accept that our manufacturers and upcyclers can use that for their products. Then type 5 is one another high end plastics. I love it. It's like true love. It's flexible. You can use it for microwavables. You can use it for freezing items. So, miski na sa mainit o sa malamig, parang tunay na pag-ibig. It doesn't break down. Just like it does with type 4. In that, it's very durable and it's flexible. I love type 5 in that sense. And it's highly recyclable. Type 6 is polystyrene. It's the styrofoam and it's brittle. It crackles when you squeeze it, when you touch it. Most of the PS, that's called polystyrene type 6, crackles when you touch it, when you like squeeze it. But this is the problem with polystyrene. They are starting to use it they have used it also for CD cases, DVD cases, the games that you play with PlayStation and Wii. That's type 6. And then type 7 is where we became famous, the Philippines. We're amongst the highest users of sachet. Sachet is multi-layered plastics. Before, they said long time, not long time ago, but back in 2017, that it's not recyclable. You cannot use it again. There's no other way to deal with it except for incineration, which is now not true. They were saying it's difficult because it's different kinds of plastics all in one thing. But right now we can upcycle that. They use it for bricks, they use it for boards, they use it for planks, they use it for chairs, crates, pallets, whatnot. And dami ng uses for type 7. So those, in a nutshell, that's the types of plastics that's out right now in the planet. And we can accept, Cleaner Oceans Project can accept type 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There. Ngayon, ang plastic may second chance na.
Very good. Mabuti naman, no?
Oo nga, buti pa sila may second chance, di ba, Rina?
True.
Right.
You know what? That makes they just give me an idea with all this online shopping plastic. Because normally when I receive my parcel, I'm too excited and I forgot to cut them properly so I can use it again. You know, if I'm going to for future use. I think that is one of my mistake. Like I'll rip them up and then put them in the bin, or they wouldn't take it here on the recycling bin. So I think I'm guilty when it comes to that
You've got to
part.
move back here in the Philippines because type 4
No,
here in the Philippines is accepted for upcycling. There.
I'm gonna be more behaved now. I'll try to be more considerate and stock it. Maybe I'll use it as a rubbish bin bag instead of buying again. But that's not gonna work, isn't it?
No, it's not
Rubbish
going to
bin.
work. Actually,
No, it's still.
yeah, it's not going to work. So what you're doing right now, which you can also do back there in the UK, is that you write your Amazon, you write the online shops, and tell them, they should give you guys more options for more sustainable packaging. That's what you can do to pressure them into looking for ways for you to practice a more sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah, I think Amazon is using more cardboard now, but there are other shops that they use this plastic.
Yeah, that's true. Amazon has been using cardboard and they're back to using like other fillers instead of the peanut styrofoam, from what I heard. Yeah.
Anna, you also do some consulting for communities, right? Because that's what I want to get from my community. Uh, but in my area, there are other smaller gated communities, but not as fancy as the first one you have. So, so it's like scaled down mini ones. But there are
No, but
many
yeah,
of them. I think, yeah, I think there are maybe 10 communities that you can they get your can they get the service of Clean Our Oceans project.
yeah, of course they can because it's easy. The funny thing is people think it's so complicated when actually drop the plastic is so easy to set up. All you have to do is that get me a handful of, people whom I can train to be deputies of plastic, and they will help manage the event. You have to have the event probably in like a parking lot that's shaded, or a basketball court, and then we provide the toner bags. People will go there with their clean dry plastics, and then the deputies will help them sort it. So like what happens in Alabang, I'm sorry, but I have my mandatory volunteers. In other words, they're my children. They have no choice. Okay, so
Voluntold. They're voluntold.
yeah, that's right. So they stand there, they help weigh stuff, but there are times when a person comes over and they ask, "What type of plastic is this?" So the volunteers, the deputies are able to tell them, "Put it in this bin, put it in type 1, put it in type 2." So that's what they do. And then the people will send their plastics there. The manager, one of the trainees again, will note the weight. Of course, everything will be weighed. And that's it. After that, you give us a call and then we'll pick it up. And then it gets diverted from the landfills in the ocean. You guys start becoming part of the solution, not the pollution.
Awesome. So
Right.
yeah, that's so cool. You know, it's like a cradle to cradle, or closer to the circular economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There should be a circular economy, meaning that it stays away from polluting the ocean, keep it within the use of man. And that's what
Nice.
Rina is always doing. That's why we get along so well, because what she's doing is that keeping it within the use of man. What I'm doing is keeping within the plastics within the use of man. Just like what Mako is doing, it's keeping the plastics also within the use of man.
Right. So this process is now like COVID certified, right? You've updated it. So we can just keep running this
Yeah, you can
forever.
keep running it. You can keep running it because we don't accept. We're not. We're not. You guys are not hospitals. Hospitals are required to send their plastics elsewhere. But if it's a household or if it's an office, then you can just, we can just have a drop of plastic in your nearby basketball court, nearby parking lot.
Right. I was also thinking maybe going the extra mile, get free ice cream or a free drink. Bring your own container first.
Why not?
Um,
Bring your own craft beer.
That is the same concept
yeah.
with Sari Soli. Am I right? JP?
Yes.
Yeah, what was it again?
They bring the marine plastic litter collected from the sea, but it's not their waste. The thing is, it's not their waste, and then they bring it to the store, and then they can
Oh, the
um
Soli Soli
they get cooking
store.
oil. Yes, from
Yeah, the
Pia.
Soli Soli store. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yun ang mahirap dun sa kay Pia kasi marine litter as they call it is quite to put it kindly salty.
All right.
So manufacturers like we're not gonna touch that. You don't want that to
Yeah.
contaminate your items, so they don't want to touch it. So it's a nice thing what Pia is doing, where she found a way for a manufacturer to use a marine litter.
Yeah, I think
Right.
she's the one who's like, she's going to be the one to recycle the one that you haven't filtered, that hasn't been trapped in your trap.
Yes,
Do you
that's
know what I
right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
like the way I look at it is before it goes to the bin, right? You're finding a way to upcycle them, and you're trying to teach people, before we put it on our rubbish bin, obviously, the better way to use it. And then Pia would be those who escaped from the um from that bin.
I like the way you escaped. It's like they went, no, I'm not going in the bin.
All right. I think it's time for a break. Um, so I'd like to welcome the new people who just joined in here on Clubhouse. Some of the people I've met in other clubs, Philip from South Africa and Lauren. Welcome. So we'll be opening the stage after we talk to Rina on her composting service, book a bucket service. uh we'll just have a short message from the club, and yeah, so I request everyone to stay tuned, and we'll be bringing up everyone to for some questions and additional feedback or more discussion, and then afterwards we'll have another room for the after party where we have a more open discussion. So stay tuned, everyone. Thank you for joining Makati House.
Welcome to Makati House, a professional network for Filipinos helping Filipinos. Our topic tonight is how to sort our trash with Anna Varona with Clean Our Oceans project and drop the plastic events. Rina Papio will talk about getting started on composting our kitchen waste with Green Space and their SoilMate app. This event is being recorded and streamed live to other platforms. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and listen to our past discussions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
we're back. Hello, everyone, to our audience here in Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram, and the rest. My bad. Um, well, let's get back to Rina. Rina.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you go with this because really, I'd really want to know. You know, when you first heard of EM, what what make you, you know, to get convinced that it's gonna work, you know, as a business and as something that, you know, would be an answer to your cause.
Mhm. Well, it's not really just EM, but um, it's a wonderful idea, of course. But we really need to look and and find out what problem can be solved with this. And I looked around and I actually saw uh, these types of services outside the country. So there are services like this, a lot of services like this in different states in the U.S. And I've been following their pages. Most of them would do curbside pick up of buckets. And of course, I don't think we can do that here. It's not like people can just leave their buckets outside and come back for it later. Probably be gone, fortunately. So I had to really think of a model that would address a specific or a certain issue. And being in this urban jungle, this concrete jungle, we do not have much spaces, and most of the time it's really tall buildings. So if you would have a space, it's like a small terrace where you can put up your garden. So we had to look at the what are the challenges that we can address. So we focused on that. So we focused on people living in small spaces, so they worry about the space that they might need to actually compost their food waste. And if they can weave it into their schedule, especially given that we all need to work, we all need to worry about so many things. So if you're worried about the time that you will need to set aside for your food waste, if you're worried about these things. So it's like we can't let you use this as an excuse to not compost. So if you're worrying about these things, okay, let us do it for you. So that's how we figured that would be the business model. So it's the service. You don't worry about cleaning your bucket, because of course after you fill up your bucket you let it ferment and then you now transfer all the fermented food waste into your garden or maybe to a soil factory. Of course you have to clean your bucket, so some might not be comfortable in doing that. So in the service you don't have to worry about cleaning your bucket. You would always have clean buckets, and you don't need to buy your Bokashi brand because it will always be replenished every time you do a bucket exchange, and you don't need to worry about how to actually compost the fermented food waste. We will compost it for, and with doing so, we get to help farm partners, urban gardens, or farms because they would be benefiting from the compost that we will make out of the food waste. And if for some it's simply you just need to do something worthwhile and something you can do for the environment. Many of the subscribers are like that. They're just happy to know that none of their food waste would ever end up in a landfill. So with all those things we figured, okay, people might be open or ready to pay for a service like this. So there, we just started offering the service, And like as I mentioned, we were initially talking to businesses until we had to also offer it to households, given that during the pandemic everyone's at home. And right now we already have about 136 subscribers. So that was after a year of offering the household services.
Rina, how does
Yes.
how does book a bucket service work, and how can we avail it?
Yep. So right now, we're proudly partnered with WWF. It's WWF Philippines who helped us come up with an app. So there's a mobile app. Just have to download the app, and through the app, you can subscribe to the service. Meaning, you just fill up the form there, and online payments are available. And you choose the plan that would suit your household. So you choose the size of the bucket. We are offering two sizes of buckets, so you can go for a 20 liter. We call it a standard bucket, or a mini bucket, which is a 16 liter bucket. The difference would be it would depend on the size of the household. um, and on average, a household of four would fill up a 20-liter bucket, in about 2 weeks. So you can just assess if you have a smaller household, you can go for the mini bucket. For the bigger households, what happens is they exchange like two or even up to four buckets every month. So that's what will happen. Once you subscribe, we will provide you with the buckets and the brand, and then you learn the right way of collecting your food waste into the bucket, layer it with the bokashi brand until it's full. So that's that. There's really not much difference with the way you're handling your food waste now. It's you're just putting it in the bucket instead of the garbage bin mixed with all the other waste. Put your food waste in the bucket, layer it with the brand, cover it, and keep on doing that until it's full. Once it's full, you go back to the app, and there's a button there that says book a bucket. It means you're booking a bucket exchange. So you choose a date, and then you indicate there if you have one full bucket, you have two full buckets, and then uh, we will line you up on that date that you've chosen, and on that day we'll take care of going around our all our subscribers who scheduled an exchange. We'll get the buckets, do the exchange, like get your full bucket, give you an empty bucket, so you just continue collecting your food waste, and then all the buckets that we collected with the food waste, we bring it to our composting sites. So that's your bucket
Thank you,
service.
Rina. Very quickly, can you
Yes.
tell us about very quickly about information with regards to your composting sites and how safe are they, to the environment and the people living around it as well?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Safe, of course. Yes, it's safe because it's much safer than all the methane being produced in a landfill when you bring your food waste there. So here in a side, imagine just it's like just a garden. You dig a trench or a pit, and then you put all the fermented food waste there, cover it, and with also with the bokashi method, it doesn't need a lot of turning or a lot of time to really um, process it. You just let the soil microbes finish the decomposition, and after 4 to 6 weeks, we can dig it up, harvest the compost, and then either use it or distribute it. Our our site, the first site that we have is in Plaridel, Bulacan, and it's a partnership with Green Ants and the Rotary Club of Plaridel. There was a member who had a space that he hasn't been using for a long time. So using the green ants bricks, which is made from plastic. So these are upcycled plastics. The bricks were made into compost pits, and then that's where we bring the food waste, bury it into soil, and turn it into compost. Now we have a partner farm um, located in, there's one in Quezon City, Bagong Sinangan, and there's also one in Caliraya, Laguna. And what we intend is to do is to have multiple composting sites around the city that would not require too much space because we will be installing biodigesters, or we call it a rapid composter. It's a machine that can turn food waste into compost in just 24 hours. So we will be having that so that we can process more food waste on a daily basis, because you know what, every day we send over 2,000 tons of food waste to the landfill, and that's just Metro Manila. So one community that generates 1,000 food waste in a house in a day. Um, if we can set up site there and process all that food waste, then that's 1,000 kilograms of food waste diverted away from the landfill.
Thank you so much, Rina. We talked before when we had the meeting. Do you remember when I asked you where does the end products go, and we talk
Mhm.
about 10, 20, 40, and 30? Would you
Mhm.
kindly share more about it to us? I mean, like, I'm greedy, you know? Okay, I'm going to avail your service. I have a clean kitchen. I'm helping. I'm helping the community. I'm being a part, and then I want more.
Mhm, right, right. When you're subscribed to the service, we actually have a rewards program, which means you also get to redeem compost. So in terms of the compost produced, uh, we're sort of following that 10, 20, 30, 40 model, such that um 10% of the compost produced will stay on site. That's something that the site can use for their own garden, for their own farm. And then 20% is allocated for subscriber rewards. So whenever a subscriber has collected enough credits and they start redeeming, they can actually choose to redeem a bag of compost or a bag of gulay, a bag of vegetable to get. That's in partnership with Good Food Community. And so we need to allocate about 20% for subscriber rewards, and then the remaining 30% can be sold by the partner farm, so that's an added revenue for them. And then the rest, the remaining 40%, we have this concept with Good Food Community called soil bank. So we like set aside this much compost in this soil bank, such that whenever a partner farm, Good for Communities partner with over 80 farms all over the Philippines. So whenever a partner farm is in need of help in terms of compost and improving the health of their soil in the farm, then we can distribute the compost made to those partner farms. That's how we want to use the compost.
That's amazing. So you can there's always I like this I like tonight's show. There's something for everyone, not just single people or no, my bad. So you have something for the plantitos and the plantitas who are who got recently got into home gardening. That's
Yes,
ang galing. Yeah,
yes,
that's so
definitely.
amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because come to think of it, um, we're able to keep all this food waste away from the landfill. That's already good enough, right? But since we can turn all this food waste into compost, then we can use the compost to help in the area of food security, farming, gardening.
I think that can also
Yeah.
answer the problem with carbon footprints and all the chemicals they've been using. Because I mean, like, if you use this compost for instead of buying those chemical fertilizers, and we already have this nicely processed, you know, soil mate, then it saves us a lot of money as well.
That's right. That's right. In organic farms like the farm in Laguna, they're really avoiding not a single drop of chemical getting into the farm. So they need a lot of compost to provide nutrients into the soil to make the soil healthy enough to grow all their crops. So yeah, it saves them from buying chemical based fertilizers.
Right. And as the more and more I research about our sustainability topics, the more and more I am getting closer to become a full-on environmental activist. So what I'm learning about our landfills, the more waste we have in our landfills, the more it's also emitting greenhouse gases like methane, which is the
Right,
second after carbon.
right.
So I know we have COP26 and they're talking a lot about climate change. The more we divert our waste going to landfills, so we do have another topic for that in
Mhm,
January. So
mhm.
the more we can work on climate change,
Right.
it's doing our part,
Mm-mm.
right?
So we're
From our
actually
own homes.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. And we're actually talking about greenhouse gas avoidance. We get to avoid more methane being emitted to the atmosphere. And once we're able to bring back carbon into the soil, so that's your carbon sequestration. Healthy soil, healthy farms, healthy plants, they can take so much carbon from the atmosphere. So we're avoiding methane and then we're sequestering carbon from the atmosphere because of all the healthy soils and farms that we have because of the compost.
Right. And I know you're also
Mhm.
doing work with the river rehabilitation. So how about if I mentioned in it's for the home, right? But you also said you started this like composting for businesses. Let's say
Yeah.
I work at a restaurant, or when our if I work in an office and the office opens again,
Mhm.
can we ask my boss, for example, or my office manager to contact you? How does it work? Is it
Yeah,
almost the same thing as the app
Yeah,
service?
we just have different plans for the businesses because for households we're talking about one or two buckets every month, but for businesses it can go one bucket every day or even two buckets on a daily basis. So there's just a different uh, subscription plan, but it's the same service. We provide them the buckets or sometimes even drums, not the 20-liter bucket, but a bigger drum. It depends on the volume and I mean how much waste they generate. Before the pandemic, we were actually setting up for an office with 4,000 employees. And 4,000 employees, they make like 80 to 100 kilograms of food waste every day. So that's what we were dealing with. Um, but when the pandemic happened, so nobody goes to the office, there's no more food waste. Wala na, kahit right now they will just fill up one bucket in 1 month. Kaya it's really true na hindi naman nawala yung food waste, di ba? Pero it all went to the homes where we all gather and eat. Kaya right now, crucial talaga for people at home to think about it. But of course, discussion of returning to office, nag-uumpisa na. Some offices are already planning how to go back. And actually, some of the existing clients from offices, they made use of this time to prepare the office to go zero food waste. So because there's still a few people coming to the office, the housekeeping staff is there. So they already started so that the housekeeping staff is already aware of how to do the bokashi composting, how to segregate the food waste. So when people starts returning to the office, they would return to a zero food waste office already.
Very impressive, Rina.
Thank
I
you.
really love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Anna, you wanted to say to add something
Oh,
you
so
sent
yeah.
the back channel.
No, because the thing about this whole system about zero waste, with what Rina is doing, she's copying Mother Nature. Mother Nature has a system where, she everything she creates is put to good use. Even like what happens to the whale poop. The whale poop is eaten by bioplankton. The bioplankton, it inhales that they bubble it up and then they release. Their release is actually oxygen. So there's no such thing as waste with Mother Nature and how she created the ecosystem. So with Rina, with what she's doing, because food comes from nature, she just brings it back to nature. Whereas with us, the problem is plastic is man-made. And we expected that Mother Nature will take care of that waste. When in reality, because it's man-made, it's man who should take responsibility to take care of, utilizing it again and not make it go to waste. So there's a circular economy already with Mother Nature. I mean, she's awesome. And then so we should just follow the same thing with plastics, uh, where it becomes zero waste. So recycle, upcycle, sell it to the market and the consumer will give it back to manufacturers. Manufacturers will use it again for their products, bring it back to the market, and then people will buy it again. It just keeps on going around and around. That's how it should be. Like what Mother Nature does, she creates a location, and then critters and animals live in it. Bigger animals will eat it. Then bigger animals eat the bigger animals, and then the bigger animals will, will have waste, and then she has this plankton or these plants that eat it all up and then turns it into oxygen, absorbs carbon dioxide, and becomes beneficial to all of us. So that's how it should work with plastics as well.
Right. So Anna, are you? I want to start wrapping up. So, are you looking for volunteers or are you hiring? How can people find you or Clean Our Oceans project?
Well, Cleaner Oceans Project is in Facebook. There's a website also, www.cleaneroceansproject.com, or you can email us at cleaneroceansproject@gmail.com. So you can ask questions, you can see how easy it is to set up. Even those who are abroad or, not in the Philippines can ask me if how they could do it there in their country. It's really easy.
How about you, Rina? Sorry, I muted you, Rina. Are you looking for volunteers? Are you hiring? How can people avail of the apart from the app? What else do you have? I saw on your website you have a store.
Mhm. Yeah, you you choose for yourself. First, there are different types of or different ways to compost. So what really matters is find one that suits you. And if it's bokashi composting, then you choose or are you able to do it on your own? So just buy the products, buy the bucket. You can even make your own bucket, but it's the bokashi brand that you need to purchase. So buy your materials and start doing it at home. But if you can't do it, just subscribe to the service. Let us do it for you. So those are the things to check out. Once we have our sites up in different locations, then definitely we'll be opening up livelihood for um, the communities where we will be setting up our composting sites. So that's one thing to look forward to. Hopefully, beginning of 2022, we'll start opening up sites for composting, and we're really looking forward to diverting more and more food waste. So that's what's gonna happen as we grow our SoilMate collective. What it means is more food waste away from landfills and more compost that can be used for growing our food.
Okay, one. Sorry, I wanna add a little quick one question for Rina,
Mhm.
because we have international guests here. Like Philip, I know Philip has a farm in South Africa. Do you wanna? Are you open to international collaboration, like maybe SoilMates Indonesia, SoilMates India, or SoilMates South Africa, or are you open to that right now, or how fast can you accelerate into that transition?
That's definitely a very good option. It's something that we can do, but right now I really just want to see it explode first here in the city in Manila, and a lot of our friends outside the NCR is actually waiting for the service to be available in Cebu, in Davao. So hopefully we can get this um, running and working all over the country, and then we can start talking about seeing how this can happen outside of the country. And in fact, in all those countries, EM is already available. So maybe it's just finding a way how we can replicate the system, make it work for them in their own communities. But that would be really great.
It will be the Soilmates Global Network.
Yes.
Yeah. So, uh, Rina, uh, shoot your shot. What's your final parting words to our listeners? Maybe in one or two sentences.
Mm. I'll just go back to that message. It's really time to make that change from landfillers to landfillers. You know, get all this food waste out of the way. Since you don't need to sort the food waste, put all the food waste in the bucket, send it for composting, and then whatever's left, Anna's already taught you how to deal with all the plastics and all the other types of waste. But at least in terms of food waste, the moment you focus on your food waste, half of your waste is already out of the picture, and then you have all your energy. You can spend it in learning how to identify all the different types of other waste and where to bring it, how to deal with it. So this is it's simple. Just have to start and really believe that when you do this, you're gonna be part of the planet's regeneration. Become a land healer. Be our soil mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rina. How about you, Anna?
From
Shoot your shot.
okay, guys. From hoarder to order, lead a more thoughtful life and a less waste lifestyle. And the lesser waste that we have, the lesser pollution that we'll be giving out to the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So we'll move on to questions. We'll just prepare the stage. So for those who want to share something or have encouraging words for Rina and Anna, or you have some questions for them, we're opening up the stage. Please raise your hands, or if you're watching from Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, you can ping us or write your question in the comments or your message, and we'll read it out loud. Or you can also message it to me through the back channel, and I will read it out loud. So we'll take a quick break as we prepare the stage. So stay tuned, and thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate everyone who's in here. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Welcome to Makati House, a professional network for Filipinos helping Filipinos. Our topic tonight is how to sort our trash with Anna Varona with Clean Our Oceans project and drop the plastic events. Rina Papio will talk about getting started on composting our kitchen waste with Green Space and their SoilMate app. This event is being recorded and streamed live to other platforms. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and listen to our past discussions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
And we're back. Oh, hi, Philip. Welcome on stage.
Thank you.
So let me kick off one question for Anna. What's the state of legislation on labeling plastics? And here in the Philippines, we have an election coming up. Is there one that we can follow, or we can uh, pester politicians to pass this legislation on labeling plastics? Um,
Yeah, 2018, we drafted a letter to Congress asking them, because like what I said, right? 85% of the plastics that we were trying to sort have no resin code, so we have no idea what kind of plastic was used to make the packaging or the product. So we sent a letter to Congress to require all manufacturers and FMCGs to visibly visibly label their products and their packaging with a resin code so that the consumers will be empowered to sort their plastics properly. It's still being debated on. Apparently, the congressman who I'm talking to said it's not so easy. Because it's such a simple thing to do, correct? So apparently, probably it's because of the molds, the bottles. Like the bottles have molds, and each mold costs so much, and to add a tiny little recycling symbol would cost them millions. But what I did instead of and simultaneously with that was that we started emailing FMCGs and telling them, you should really um place the resin code on your products and on your product packaging. And this year, finally, I got responses from Unilever, from Procter and Gamble, from like brands like Sunsilk and Rexona, and they're now more than willing to share the information on what kind of plastics were used for their products and for their product packaging. Most of them are already starting to place the resin code on the products itself. So also interesting to note, that's why I buy my skincare products from Korea. They have in each product packaging the resin code. It's a requirement there in their country to place it on their products and product packaging. So it's moving forward through the FMCGs, but I'm hoping that one day legislation will pass that bill so that it can go nationwide.
yes, good luck with that. Good luck with that, Anna. I'm rooting for you. And if you need help to, I don't know what help I can do, but
I will tell
let
them,
me
don't
know.
worry.
Okay, then for Rina, I have one question for Rina. What tip or tips can you share in launching an app in focusing on environment, on sustainability and cleaning up the environment?
Yeah, you just have to be clear with what problem you're trying to solve. And in terms of the app, I really know nothing about making the app, so we had to spend time with the developers to really discuss what it is we wanted out of the app. In fact, up to this day, we still continue to see some bugs and fixes. I believe it comes with developing one, and um, there's there's no app when we were trying to develop it, there was no app similar to it that we can just sort of not copy, but at least be a guide on how to make the app work, both from the front end and the back end. But really, I think one learning really is to sit down with the developers and like put everything down. What is it that you want the users to experience, and users and the subscribers, it should be easy for them to use. And then from the back end, the ones managing the app, the ones using the data, should really be clear how we want to see the data flowing, moving, and how you can use it, so that the app is supposed to help us deliver the service and do the business much better, and not cause an additional um, problem with the fulfillment of the bucket exchanges. So there, just really have to sit through and write everything down and discuss all the steps, so that when they start developing it, everything would be included. That's it. Back to you, Jacob.
Oops. Sorry. I pressed the wrong unmute button. Yeah, so that's very impressive. A day in the life of a chief soilmate. Also doing everything from composting to managing an app. So like I said, Philip here in based in South Africa, he's very big on regenerative farming and also sustainable energy. Philip, do you have some comments on
Hi.
composting,
Um,
what you're doing in South Africa?
yes, JP, thank you very much. And first, I just want to congratulate you on this room and the introduction. It really, it's the first time that I've heard anybody do a room like that with an introduction specifically for the room, and I think it lifts it into another level. So well done on that. I think that's great. And then to Rina and Anna on your projects. Yeah, I think that's also really nice that it's a way of utilizing a resource which at the moment is being absolutely wasted. And I just wanted to ask if I mean obviously now with the COVID it's not as bad as it used to be, but the airline industry, and obviously that will pick up again, and it's still bad. The airline industry, it's just incredible the amount of food waste that it produces, and I'm just wondering if you have or if you're considering maybe reaching out to the local airport to collect their food waste, which I'm sure is a lot. And then also, Rina, you mentioned a machine which makes it possible to do compost in one day. And I suppose it's because the compost or the food material that you get is already half digested by this Bukashi method. So I'm just interested in that, and if you can maybe provide some more information on that. And the other thing that I was wondering when you were talking, I mean, because we also utilize all our food waste mostly in earthworm systems. But of course, there's some food waste which is not good for the earthworms, so that goes elsewhere, together with all the cardboard and the paper. And I'm just wondering whether you collect, other compostable stuff that can easily be composted besides food waste. And then to both you and Anna, I want to ask, one of the issues that we as an organization have to deal with quite often is issue of disposable diapers, because it's a huge problem in our country and actually globally. Disposable diapers can take hundreds of years to break down in landfill. It's not healthy to discard it anywhere. There's many places in our country where there's little or no waste removal services. So these bags of dirty diapers end up next to the road or even in the rivers, and then it's up to the communities to clean it up. And of course, that's not a healthy situation. So I'm just wondering how you deal with the problem of disposable diapers in your region. And the last thing that I want to mention is that if anybody is interested, we run a club called Geosphere, which you can access from my profile. And tomorrow at this time, as part of the Global Voices program, we will be talking about energy and sustainable energy. What kind of energy are we going to be requiring for our future civilization as a globe? Which doesn't have all the impacts that our current fossil fuel driven energy has. But yeah, so those are my questions and my points. So thank you very much for the opportunity, JP.
Thank you, Philip. Who wants to go first? Rina?
Yeah,
Anna?
okay. Hi, Philip. Nice meeting you. Thank you for your questions about first the airport or airline food waste. Actually, before the pandemic, we were already beginning to speak with them. Even Hannah, in terms of the plastic, it's just that a lot of things changed when the pandemic happened. It's like everything stopped. So that's maybe something that we can resume. We can get back speaking to them again. It goes with the resorts, the hotels, because people are now going back to all these places and that's true. Food, there are now more food waste, and well, not just waste but plastic waste, and in fact some are returning back to the plastic utensils because of COVID, so they prefer plastic utensils so they can just throw it away after. So there really is an increase. So we want to look at that. That's certainly something that we would like to be able to cover. And then you ask about the machine. You know, the machine, it can work even without the bokashi. So it can be set up on site. So let's say a building or a resort would generate volumes of food waste. All those food waste can go directly into the machine. The value of doing bokashi is really more on the sources so that they do not have to find a way to dispose the waste at the end of the day. So like I shared earlier, a household could fill up their bucket in 1 month. So with the bokashi method, even if it takes them that long, then they don't worry about it. And then once we collect all this food waste, whether it's 1 month old, 1 week old, 2 weeks old, if we can bring it to a composting site with a rapid composter, then we can unload all one ton of food waste into the machine, and for it to be processed, that would enable us to collect from more households, because 1,000 kilograms of food waste, uh, we could be servicing 3 4,000 households, because it means, considering that some would only be turning over their buckets once a month, some every other week. So having a rapid composer would help us process more on a daily basis, and teaching them how to do the bokashi would be more beneficial for them, so they can just keep on collecting no matter how long it would take for them to fill it up. For other compostable materials, we're beginning to look into first the compostable packagings. So we're speaking with suppliers of compostable packaging, such that uh, since there are limited dine-in options right now, so most are doing takeouts, deliveries. So these suppliers, they talk to restaurants to consider shifting to compostable packagings. Now, if people start using compostable packaging, but they don't compost it and still mix it with the rest of the garbage. So it's the same story as food waste. They all end up in the landfill. So we're now also exploring that option, working with the suppliers to help the end users know that if they use a compostable packaging, then definitely put it in your bucket. It can also go to composting. Now, other materials, not yet, but we're receiving questions, because when you go to sustainable stores, there are a lot of compostable options, or biodegradable options, right? So we will try to explore. We're actually one of the partners. They're let's just they're using PLAs, or the types of compostable plastics. So we're also doing some trials, experiments to confirm and assure the consumers that when they switch to this compostable plastics, that they can really be composted, or not that if they can be composted, because we know that they can be composted, but where or who can compost it for them. So we really want them to also include it in there when they segregate it, to let it end up in a compostable pile and send it for composting. Disposable diapers, actually not just disposable diapers. When we speak to offices, one of the biggest problems, like in a building, they would really have hundreds of bags of tissue paper, sanitary napkins coming from the restrooms. So that is truly a big issue. We're not there yet. We're right now we're focused on making our clients or our subscribers embrace the idea that all this food waste can be segregated and composted, and hopefully we can also go into disposable diapers. That's Anna. Is there anything you want to share about that?
Disposable diapers are actually third in the most number of waste for for that goes into the landfill. It's a third. So the thing about disposable diapers is that it's not accepted by recycling companies because they cannot use the waste there. Though it's made out of plastic, it's made out of polyethylene, an absorbent material. Because of the fact that it captures human waste, they cannot use it for manufacturing their products. But there are two solutions that are coming out right now. One is there are machines that are able to use um disposable diapers, sanitary napkins, tampons, and use it to create biofuel or biodiesel. I think they're called the gasifiers, the Rina. Gasifiers are able to accept all kinds of plastics and including medical waste. That's one, but it's not yet properly used because it's quite costly. That's one. And secondly, people are scared of it. And then second solution that people are coming out with is that I heard about this product called G diapers, which is made out of biodegradable material. So, and another one that where there's an insert, so there's less plastics involved. So the diaper is made out of cloth cover, and you can take out. They could insert. You can insert an item that I haven't really taken it, but it absorbs the human waste, and then that insert can be flushed down the toilet supposedly, and then you can wash the cloth diaper. So there are three solutions coming out for that for disposable diapers. I think I think the most viable would be to turn it into biofuel or biodiesel because there are people who actually use pig feces or cow feces to make to as a burning material. So why not human waste? And since it's packaged already in plastic, which has petroleum in it, it can be used also to make crude oil or diesel. So I think it will be going in that direction. But yes, the disposable diapers are a big smelly problem for our planet. Oh, and then for the airlines, yes. I was talking to the airlines all about their plastic waste. The problem with that is airlines are basically run by public government, by by the government, and they have someone who takes care of all the waste. It's a contractor, and it's a big deal, so that's a lot of money involved there. So all the waste that comes from the airlines are owned by that waste management company. Then secondly, right now, like as well for hotels, is that all plastic bottles or plastic waste that come out from the airlines and from the hotels are considered medical waste because it's possibly contaminated. So they don't want to give it to recyclers or upcyclers. So that's the problem. That's the challenge that we're facing right now with regards to pandemic and plastic waste. I used to have several hotels who were partners with me, and they would send us their plastic bottles, even their playing cards, but now all of that waste is considered bio waste. So that's our challenge. And I hope, really, really hope we get out of this pandemic state of the world already so we can go back to functioning properly in terms of recycling. So that's the problem, Philip. Thank you for your question. It's really good.
Thank you for your both for your comprehensive answers. Just with regards to diapers, I mean that's a massive problem globally. I think there's something like 500 billion diapers being utilized annually, and of course, if you have enough water, there could be, one could go back to using, cloth diapers, as we all did in the past, or a method of not diapering at all and not using
Correct.
any, you know.
Correct.
Then of course, we have to put pressure on the big companies who profit massively from this problem. The Kimberly Clarks and the Procter and Gambles, they should be the ones taking responsibility for their product. Full
Yes,
life
that's
cycle.
right.
So
That's right.
thank you for your answers and the opportunity to ask them. Thanks.
Philip, I have a question. When it comes to the diapers, is it possible to lobby to this big manufacturer to be the one to collect it? Is there a way?
Well, we've certainly tried it here in South Africa. We arranged meetings with Kimberly Clark, and initially they were quite upbeat about the idea of becoming involved. But I think later, when they realised the scope of the problem, they sort of withdrew behind the absorbent hygiene products. They've got some umbrella body for all the absorbent hygiene products, and they did organise a meeting with us, and basically it was just to explain the massive problems that they sit with and why they can't produce disposable diapers because it's just too expensive for the normal people to afford, and why it's really expensive to separate the waste stream. But there was one recycling center or facility which was operational in Italy, but it was a very, very small pilot product, and it's very doubtful whether that will be rolled out to the rural areas of Africa, where it's a problem. And then, of course, these big companies, they have the power to go into real rural communities and really change the culture in order, advertising their product as the developed way to go, and so changing culture in communities and impacting then on the environment. So yeah, it really, we need a more collective effort to put more pressure onto these big corporations. So thanks.
Yeah, Philip, I understand why it's such a big challenge because about I think 95% of household prefer using disposable diapers exclusively. They don't want to deal with the cloth. They don't want to deal with the washing. They don't want to deal with dumping the waste into the toilets, right? Because I think it's a matter of also of economy. We're more and how modern our lifestyles are, where women and men have to both work instead of staying at home and taking care of the kids. So disposable diapers are easier to for them to deal with than having to deal with cloth diapers, which is a big problem because it takes 500 years to decompose. I think 500 years, that's right. Then your challenge also is, of course, that the big companies wouldn't want to let go of that because it's big business. I mean, they earn billions from it every year. Like if you say like 95% of the households exclusively use disposable diapers. That's a large market. That's a large money making business for them. So that's a really big challenge, Philip. I'm really gonna really like pray for you guys that you succeed in this. I mean, disposable diapers are the third most used single use product on the planet. I mean, that's it's hard to wrap your brain around how you're going to solve that. So I'm all for what you're doing. Thanks.
Thanks, yes. And according to the World Health Organization, there's guidelines as to how to use disposable diapers. And the thing that they say you should do is after you remove it, you must first rinse it and then you can discard of it, you know. And I see nobody that
Nobody
I know
does that.
will.
Yeah.
And the
I
other
haven't
is
seen anybody really do that except for one community here in Cavite. They're like a commune. They take the plastics apart. They take the layers apart and they wash it. And then they dispose of the plastics properly. But
uh,
even that, even if it's washed, the recycling companies won't take it. That's a really big challenge that you took onto yourself.
no, well, that's not the main thing that we are involved with. We're more into the forestry or the fake forestry, you know, industrial monoculture timber plantations, which wreaking havoc on our integrated environment. I mean, mostly eucalyptus and pines, both evergreen alien species to the region,
Oh,
completely destroy
yeah, yeah,
indigenous,
yeah.
using a
Yeah,
lot of water.
that is a
But with
problem here
regard
too.
to disposable diapers, I just want to mention that, you know, sometimes people overuse the convenience of it. Sometimes people leave a disposable diaper on a baby for, you know, for hours and hours and hours, you know, until the diaper is so full of waste, and that, of course, is not good for the child, you know.
No,
So I
that
think
goes
there's
back in their system.
I think
Right.
there's misconception about how healthy they are. And in urban areas, of course, it's a big problem with people flushing them down the toilets and then, of course, blocking the sewage systems, you know. So, yeah, it's a big problem for all of us, I think. But thanks for the opportunity, JP, and thanks for all your answers, Anna and Rina.
Thank you, Philip. I really thank you for asking those tough questions and sharing your ideas and opinion. Um, we have one last question from Makati House Club member and also our voiceover talent, Beth. One quick question.
One quick question. Hi, guys. Good morning. It's Saturday morning, and it's normally my lazy morning. I woke up and like, oh my gosh, I missed it, and y'all are still going. So I'm so happy. So my question is, it's not. Let's just not talk about the disposable diapers, but did you guys touch on disposable feminine products? Because I am a member of this NGO called Days for Girls International, where they get volunteers to sew and put together washable feminine hygiene products to send to third world countries, where it's having your period basically bans you from going to school. And so this is a creative way to make sure that the girls still have their items that they need so that they'll learn, because on the average they lose about 30 days of school every year because of having to stay home. 30 to 40 days. So I don't know if y'all have talked about that, but in the US, there's a grassroots movement about disposable, no, it's reusable feminine hygiene products and diapers, cloth diapers. So there are some communities that are really, really into the old fashioned way of doing things. And, all like 10 of their children have never had cloth diapers. I mean, sorry, disposable diapers, and they're really into everything reusable. So have you talked to any other companies or organizations about the feminine hygiene waste, the disposable feminine hygiene waste, or is that up? Is that up for consideration next time around? My name is Beth, and thank you.
Hi, Beth. Thank you very much for your question. Actually, we're starting to use, no, we've promoted, as a zero waste lifestyle. We started promoting cloth pads, and then reusable menstrual panties, and also the Diva cups. People are using the Diva cups, but more and more, I find that people prefer using the reusable and washable cloth pads. So yeah, more and more people are using it. Now, to make it global, we'll probably need your help on that. It would be nice to partner up with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had just donated a big bag of materials for the reusable feminine pads, and they were like, "Do you have more?" Because I did a lot of sewing
Yeah,
and my,
and
yeah. So
they
like
were
my
like,
direction has kind of turned, but they're nice. They're nice.
yeah,
They're if you know how to handle it, if you had you have your stuff correctly, it's not as hard as you think.
Mm-hmm.
especially
Mm,
feminine pads. But I
yeah.
know guys are going, "What? That's kind of gross." But hey,
No, no.
it's a legality.
I was gonna say we have that at home. I'm not, and I don't know. I think the politically correct way right now, the safe thing to say right now is, it's being used at home. I'm not gonna say who, and I'm not gonna confirm nor deny that it's me. But we do have that at home.
I can't help it. I have to unmute.
I was just
So
about to say. No,
uh, I just want to be on the safe side. Yeah, yeah, Anna.
no, but
Yeah.
Beth, diba, if I remember before in the Philippines they actually called it pasador. And that's before the disposable sanitary napkins came in. The Filipinos would use cloth, like padded cloth, and they would use layered cloth in order to manage their, their bloody days. So yeah, they call it pasador, and it's coming back into fashion actually right now. I see it all over our zero waste organizations in social media. So there is hope. People are turning.
And as there's more access to education and clean water, it's not a hard ask. And with more, especially probably on TikTok, more exposure for the Gen Z and millennials. They're very very environmental conscious, especially Gen Z, and we can take advantage of that so that they're the future, and they're going to teach the future generations on how to responsibly deal with waste in diapers and feminine products. That's those are easy fixes, very very easy fixes.
It's not pleasant to get out of a boat and then get on the shore and the coast, and then you're like wading through a bunch of disposable diapers. That's happened to me, and
I
it's not
remember
fun.
that. Oh, that's
Yeah,
nasty.
yeah, it's really nasty. All this, so we call it, we call it our nappy dive. And one of the doctors were telling us that probably our team, specifically like the team who goes on nappy dives, should get tested for bacteria in our bodies. That's how bad it is.
Oh
It's
wow,
really a
but that
big
that
problem.
makes sense, but that's gross. Oh.
So
All
Oh
right.
goodness. I
during
think
cleanup dives, you've been told don't handle nappies anymore because for your own health, just don't.
but I think
All right.
to
Yeah.
wrap,
So
sorry, to
yeah.
very very quickly. I think one thing that I have to say, and I really want to say it is the way that you do it. There are ways that we cannot avoid, that we need. It's very important to us, but the way that you're spreading the message on how to use it and how to minimize using, this kind of product is very important. And I just like to take this opportunity to thank everybody, our guests, and also our audience. Thank you so much for being with us.
Right. Thanks, Jen. And yeah, so Philip shared a link which I pinned. So check it out right now. And so I'll wrap up the room so we can transition into the non-recorded room and we can all talk more. Philip, I hope you still have time to join and chat further. So thanks everyone who joined us here at Makati House on Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So tonight we talked about how we can end our why and how we can end our toxic relationship with plastics and how we can all turn from end that toxic relationship and become a soilmate and hopefully become chief soilmates in our own homes. If you enjoyed tonight's session, we would like and you would like to support our mission here at Makati House of Filipinos helping Filipinos or Filipinos in spirit, please follow, like, and subscribe our Apple Podcasts and Spotify channel. This will help others find us. Feel free to reach out to us with your feedback, suggestions, or if you have friends or family that would fit in on our future topics, let us know so we can have them on here and we can spread the message of saving the earth, and saving the future of the future generation, where they have a place to live in, like what we've done. We're also looking for more volunteers. We need help with our social media planning and creative needs. So feel free to reach out to us through any of our social media accounts if you're interested. Finally, for our next rooms on November 20th, we will be discussing climate change in the Philippine context. We will discuss why the past agreements, state of the Philippines in the agreements, um, from the global agreements, and we'll also briefly review what's happening at COP26. It's currently ongoing in Glasgow. Finally, we'll brainstorm together on what we and our country can do to solve climate change. Then on November 27th, we will be joined by Feast Saver, a food rescue app, also with a goal with diverting unsold prepared food or cooked food from going to landfill. So it's very much connected to this topic, but also we're going to tackle about food security, feeding those who are hungry. And as Philip mentioned, I will be joining a climate change room tomorrow. Bea, can you kindly uh, re-update the link again? As Philip mentioned, I'll be joining a climate change room tomorrow with other people from all corners around the world. Everyone's invited, and you may follow me or message me through the back channel to find that room. That's tomorrow. And so, yeah, thanks everyone. Here's a final message prepared by the Makati House Sustainability team for to everyone tuned in. We are opening an after party room. Join us. It's gonna be on Clubhouse. So, um, oh, where's my script? It's gone. Um, and yeah, please follow us, our club, Makati House, and have a great evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are. We hope everyone have. Oh, we hope everyone will have fun with their trash audit tomorrow and in their soilmate journey. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us at Makati House. We're now ending the room. Here are some reminders. 5. Look after the land. 4. Plant a tree. 3. Teach kids to love Mother Earth. 2. When the soil disappears, the soul disappears. And 1. Be the change you wish to see in the world.